welcome back to Susan Dawn's Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update, where we look at the energies for the Divine Masculine, the Divine Feminine, and Sacred Union for yourself and your sacred partner, for the collective as a whole, or just for your inner masculine and feminine energies. Today, I wanted to do a follow-up on our last Sacred Union Energy Update, where we were taking a look at the full moon in Scorpio, which really does feel like it shook some stuff loose. And as we talked about in that reading, there were going to be some shakeups depending on where you are in your journey. It might be subtle, or it might have a little bit of that scorpion sting to it. So I hope that you all have been well over this energy, over this past week, and are all that shakeups, all the breakthroughs, all those tower moments are creating much more clarity for you with regards to your journey. I know I've been experiencing that myself, just working with the energies, and that's the importance of doing the inner healing. That's the importance of doing the inner work, whatever it is that you want to call it. The energy work that you do within yourself, it's bringing all of the old patterns to awareness so that you can shift, so that you clear any of that old, what I call soul sludge, any of that gunk that just doesn't align with you anymore. That's what you're bringing to the surface. That's what you're healing. That's what you're clearing, because you're remembering all of who you are. Not just some parts of you, but the fullness of who you are, the wholeness of who you are. And that is what this journey truly is about. This journey for sacred partners, twin flames, however it is that you want to label it, truly is all about coming home to yourself and coming home to each other, and remembering that that homecoming is all about love. That's what the sacred connection is. That's what sacred union is. Sacred union is that alchemical marriage. It's the Hieros Gamos. And when you have that Hieros Gamos soul merge, you create within that energy of love what we've always channeled here, that third energy, which just feels like a lightning bolt. It feels like a supernova of energy where it creates a new universe, is what they showed us to us. It's a cosmic effect that when you are in alignment with your soul, with your truth, with your inner masculine and inner feminine, which is your inner union, and when you experience that within yourself, you create a whole new life for yourself. And when you create that with a partner in your physical experience, you create a new template and a new paradigm of living, of love. And that's what it comes down to. It will always come back and come down to the love. So you might have shaken some stuff loose and just returning home closer and closer to yourself, and that is what the journey is all about. If you would like some specialized guidance, I am open to personal readings for our special second annual Pause fundraiser reading. We had a fantastic event all last week where we were doing readings to benefit animals in need locally. And we have opened that up to, if you would like a reading to our online community, you can go ahead and book on our website or at susandonspiritual.com/fundraiser for more information on that. And if you would like to go deeper into what it is to truly embody sacred union within yourself, to truly transform your life from the inside out, then I welcome you into the Higher Heart Academy, where I am walking with you every step of the way. All right, let's take a look at the sacred masculine, sacred feminine, and the union energies and see what is going on currently. What is going on in this energy right now? I have been going through my own shakeups, as I shared in the Come As You Are channeling, which felt like a really beautiful and sacred channeling. Where we're holding space for each other in this softness, and that's what it feels like. It does feel like a bit of softer energy that has been coming through, especially for the divine feminine, allowing yourself to receive and integrating a new way of being in that receivership. For myself, I have been just clearing all the cobwebs of anywhere where I have still been in a survivorship of needing to micromanage or lead or control my life, and just softening into the energy of union with myself and God, and really trusting in the energy. And that comes down to my counterpart connection as well. Letting it be, letting it go, whatever it looks like. Again, opening up to all possibilities and potentials, but also connecting with that knowing, connecting with that belief in my heart. It's not even a belief. Belief, when we say the word belief, it feels like there's still some kind of holding on there. And what we're really shifting out of is the holding space. You don't have to necessarily hold space anymore. Um, we do that naturally. We hold space for each other. We hold space for ourselves. We hold space for connections. We hold space for what we want in life. But what we're doing is we're anchoring more into the trust, anchoring and integrating more of that being energy as divine feminines, allowing ourselves to be in that receivership, um, and trusting in the connection, trusting in whatever it is that we are creating to, not wondering where is our creation, where is our manifestation, not checking for the evidence, but really anchored into, it's done. It's done. God knows my desires because I'm one with God. And I don't have to try. I don't have to force. I don't have to subtly, unconsciously manipulate. I just have to be in the energy of love and who I am. I just have to embody who I am. That's all. That's literally all you have to do is just shift your view of yourself. Shift how you feel about yourself. Transform from the inside out. And you're not changing into something that you don't recognize. You're changing into who you truly are. You're becoming and embodying your authentic self, who you've always been on a soul level, without all that outside programming, without all that conditioning, without all the expectation of this is who I need to be because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm also hearing a lot of unworthiness, feeling like you have to prove yourself, feeling like you have to perform, feeling like you have to prove your worthiness. And this could be with regards to your sacred partner. I know I've definitely experienced that in my relationships, where you have to feel like you have to prove your value. You have to prove that you're worthy of love. And this is a reminder that you don't have to prove anything, that you are loved for who you are, and your sacred partner will always see that. Your sacred partner, your true divine counterpart, will always see that within you. And that is what they're attracted to. That is what they are loving about you. All of your quirks, all your flaws that you perceive, all your weaknesses that you see about yourself, they will only see that love. And they will lift you up in their strength. They will see your weaknesses not as weakness, but as something that they can support, something that they can love. They will not see your weakness as you do. Whatever your weaknesses are, they have the strength to hold you. And that's what they will do. They will hold you in their own strength wherever you perceive yourself in that weakness or in that flaw or in that unworthiness. Your sacred partner will support you, uplift you, encourage you, motivate you, and most importantly, hold you in that energy of love. And that's what it's about. That's what a sacred partnership is about. Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Isis, and Osiris, these are the examples of sacred partnership that have moved through centuries in our cellular memory. That is what twin flame connection is. Sacred partner connection is. It is the embodiment of that love. And you honor that love by honoring each other. And most importantly, through honoring yourself, not criticizing or judging yourself for where you've been or who you are or who you were, but loving who you're becoming in every moment. Respecting and honoring who you're becoming in every moment. And trusting that process too. So I don't know who needed to hear that. Maybe that was just for me. It's a process that I've been really anchoring in a much deeper level, a much deeper level of awareness, a much deeper level of integration and embodiment here. But take it if it resonates for you too. That is what sacred partnership is all about. It's about love. And not just love with regards to romance. Romance is an energy. Romance is a reflection, it's an expression of the love that you have. Romantic gestures are amazing because they lift us up. They're beautiful because they show us an expression of love. But that's what it is. It's an expression of that love. That love comes from not a romantic gesture. It comes from within you. And it's really important to recognize and understand that when we are giving these romantic gestures, it's gifts, or whether it is dates, or whether it is love language or whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be necessarily romantic, but any expression of love is just an expression of the soul. And it's an expression of you, not holding yourself back because of how are they going to react, or what if this is the wrong move, or what if XYZ happens. That's you just rejecting yourself. That's you abandoning yourself and wanting to express that love. Love just is. And expressing that love is the most faithful and beautiful thing that you can do in this world. It is sometimes also the hardest because, again, we are conditioned and programmed to think that love has to look a certain way, or that for the masculines especially, that expressions of love is too feminine, or expressions of love is too whatever, XYZ, fill in the blank. But expressing love in the way that honors yourself and your soul and the other person is the most sacred and beautiful thing that you could ever do. So don't shy away from love. Don't shy away from expressing your soul, yourself. Don't shy away from being who you are. You are meant to be who you are in the fullest, most whole expression of that. All right, that being said, not sure why we channeled that, but that being said, let's take a look at what's going on for the Divine Masculine currently. What's going on for the Divine Masculine? Connections, partnership, contract, commitment. Interesting. We also have Archangel Zadkiel, self-acceptance, compassion, and forgiveness. I love this because it does feel like connection is on the Divine Masculine's mind. With regards to what does connection actually mean is what I'm hearing. And this falls into alignment with Pluto and Aquarius. Now, Pluto is currently retrograde for a little bit of time, but in the sign of Aquarius, this 20-year period that we've entered into since last year, we've talked a lot about Pluto moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is all about moving from the self to community. And so it's all about connection, from the self and individualized sense of self to what does life look like in partnership. And that could be in partnership with a romantic partner, or it could be in partnership with the world at large. And we have relationships, I say this all the time, we have relationships with everything around us. Our whole existence is a relationship. You have a relationship with money. You have a relationship with your job, your career. You have a relationship with, obviously, family, friends, coworkers. You have a relationship with your tools. For example, maybe your car. There's a relationship that you have. How are you treating or respecting this automobile that gets you to and from places, that helps you travel, that helps you see the world, that gets you to work? How are you treating that thing? Everything has a level of connection. You also have a relationship with yourself, with God, and with life itself. And so I feel like this masculine is connecting to that, really beginning to understand connection and what does connection mean. And I'm also getting this energy of there had been an absence or an avoidance. I'm getting this sense of distance here. There had been an absence or an avoidance when it comes to connecting, because perhaps connecting had meant, number one, really connecting with themselves, knowing themselves. And we know that this journey of ascension is the crux of this journey is to know yourself. We did, again, that sacred channeling, come as you are. And what it means to really connect with yourself, what it means to really know yourself. That is the hallmark of our ascension journey, coming home to ourselves. And that means connecting deeply to ourselves, connecting deeply to our hearts, connecting deeply to our higher minds, connecting deeply to our souls, connecting deeply with all three aspects. And so I feel like this masculine may have created some kind of distance within themselves, within their life when it comes to connection. There's a very solitary energy. I'm getting the word solitary, very isolated energy. And they're recognizing in that absence, that distance, whatever that was, that could be with regards to you, divine feminine, their counterpart. That could be with regards to people in their lives. That could even be where they had created an absence or a distance, a disconnect within themselves, or even with God's source. So take it as it resonates. It could actually even resonate on all of those different levels, because remember, this is a multifaceted journey. It's not just one level. It's deeper and deeper and deeper within. And so all levels as well. But I feel like where they had created a disconnect, through the experience of that, they realized that what they really long for is connection. And where they had been disconnecting themselves, where they had been creating that distance, where they had been creating that absence, where they had creating loneliness within themselves. And we actually, interestingly enough, what they're bringing me is we see this with regards to the masculine energy in the global collective. And remember that as we're experiencing this journey within our individual lives, this also has an impact on the global collective. Our world is going through its own ascension. When I'm saying the global collective, I mean the world as a whole. You can go onto any social media platform and literally see the tenets of what we're experiencing individually happening, maybe even a little bit more slowly, but happening on a greater global scale, because there is not one thing that is not part of the whole. We're all part of the whole, macro to the micro, micro to the macro. Everything is interconnected. And so, as we are experiencing this within our perhaps sacred partnership connection, within our own individual ascension journeys, we're also seeing that play out on a greater scale. And because you are doing the work consciously and shifting consciously, you are actually leading the light, is what I'm hearing. It's a very specific phrase, interestingly enough, leading the light, or leading with light. They're correcting me, leading with light. Like, you're setting the stage. You are that leadership by example. And so, doing that inner work, you are actually creating a template for others to do that as well. And it's so fascinating because you can actually see people around you rise up, rise to the occasion to do that inner work. You're the one that has that impact. Your energy has that kind of impact. I'm literally seeing that with regards to my parents. My dad specifically, who has always been very science minded, we have over the past several years had very deep discussions about spirituality. And just today, he was on his way to the grocery store and he called me and he said, "What does it mean when I see 1111?" And I just laughed because I've been teaching him about angel numbers, because he's been bringing up, what does it mean when I see 444? What does it mean? I'm seeing 555. And so he has this natural curiosity about it and has been very open. And what's beautiful about that is he is a masculine energy, he is a male figure. And so to see that actually happening so close to me in my life, I've also seen that in other family members, I've seen that in friends, I've seen that in conversations that I'm having with strangers. It is literally your energy that is having an impact. It is up to other people, it's up to them to do the work. But your energy has an impact because everything is interconnected. And I feel like the masculine is beginning to understand that the value of connection, the value of connection, and where they had disconnected themselves, where they had created absence. Um, I'm getting this word commitment here. They're highlighting this for me, and I feel like this commitment is devotion. It's this energy of devotion, and that might be connected to you, divine feminines. It could also be where they are devoted to becoming the best version of themselves. That might be connected to you. There might be some who have you on their mind and in their energy field, and they are seeing you in your light, you in your authenticity, you in and just having this high level of honor and respect for you. Admiration is the word that I'm getting. So they might have this high level of admiration for you and how you have grown throughout your journey, and they want to meet you where you are. But this is also importantly coming from within themselves. Their own soul is calling them to rise and be committed to their own soul's journey, be committed to their own path here and becoming the best version of themselves. That is not perfection, and that's really important for the masculine to understand. And you too, divine feminine, if that's resonating with you, it's not about becoming perfect. There is no perfection. It is about becoming true to who you are. It is about becoming authentically you. And for the divine masculine, that means presence, stability, consistency, being able to stay grounded, being able to become aware of when they're leading from ego and when they're leading from the heart. A true divine masculine leads from the heart and not from the ego. And so I feel like what's happening here, you also have the two, I'm getting two messages. You have 21. So 2 and the 1 is 3. And if you listen to our last Sacred Union energy update, I believe it was that one that was coming through a lot, that 3 energy, that Trinity energy. The 2 also becomes 1, right? Not in a way of codependency, not in a way that you are sacrificing yourself, not in a way that you lose your independence. When you have two people who are independent, not to the hyper extreme, but when you have two people who are on their soul growth journey, come together in sacred partnership, there is a interconnectedness, there is a interdependence where you are both whole and you don't lose your wholeness by coming together, but you support each other in that sacred partnership in a conscious way. You are not focused on one or the other, but you're focused on the relationship as its own energy, working on the relationship as its own energy. Let me try to describe what I mean by that. When you have two people who are committed to their soul growth and they come into sacred conscious partnership, you're working together to become the best versions of yourselves and supporting each other on that path to becoming the best versions of yourself. Not attacking or judging or criticizing the other, but lovingly and consciously relating to each other. That is conscious connection. That is conscious partnership. And so that's what this feels like. This feels like commitment to each other because of that commitment to growing with yourself or within yourself. And so you have self-acceptance, compassion, and forgiveness. And I feel like this divine counterpart is just growing tremendously within, in connecting to themselves. Again, not from the ego perspective where they might have been before, but from a place of true connection to their soul self, learning to love themselves, learn to see themselves in a different light, have compassion for themselves, have forgiveness for who they were, where they were, when they were maybe in a state of unconscious or in a state of ego, having compassion and forgiveness for others, for where they were, and perhaps roles that they played. This is a very loving, gentle energy that's coming through here. A very healing energy that's coming through here, where I feel like their whole understanding of life is just really shifting. This is a next level awakening, and you're always going through awakenings. That's the rebirth energy, the transformation energy that we are constantly going through. That's what ascension is. You don't just have one awakening, and ascension isn't just one activation. You're constantly being activated to new levels of yourself. And I feel like that's what this masculine is experiencing, but it feels very gentle. Where they might have had extreme tower moments in the past, this feels very loving and very gentle. I feel like they are being very supported and very held at this time. Beautiful. Divine Feminine. What's going on for the Divine Feminine? What's going on for the Divine Feminine? What's going on for the Divine Feminine? We have the card Elementals, Nature Spirits, and the 4 Elements. There it is again, 21, 12, 2, 1, 1, 2. So you might be seeing that too. You might be seeing numbers that are reflective. I had borrowed my dad's car, speaking of automobiles, because my car needs service. And so I was borrowing my dad's car, and I filled up the gas tank for him because I had to use it a lot for work this week. And what was interesting was the number was 2772 when I filled it up. And I knew. That's how I knew. I knew I was on the right path. That's how I knew that I was meant to just do that slight little, act of service for him. And I mentioned to my dad, I handed the keys over. I mentioned to him, I said, you're good. You have a full tank of gas. And he said, you don't need to do that. But I said, it's something that I felt like I needed to do. It's something that I felt like I wanted to do. And it was just a small thing. It might be meaningless, but, that's how I knew that I was on that right track. To trust the soul nudge. And I've learned in my life to always trust the soul nudge. Wherever it leads me, there's a purpose for that. So you might see mirroring numbers, 21, 1, 2, similar to this. This is also, again, that Trinity energy, 1, 2 boils down to the 3. This energy is interesting. Let me see if I can get another card what this is about. Divine Feminines, this feels like you're very grounded right now. This feels like you're very connected, but in a very grounded way. And what they're bringing to me is this is that inner union. The inner union is the balance of the masculine and the feminine. And the masculine energy is very grounded, is very connected to the earth. The masculine, I guess you could say, is the earth energy, and the feminine is the heaven energy, very connected to the spiritual realms. And this feels like the bridge, like you're on that bridge. This feels like you're very balanced here and very connected. You might also be experiencing a lot of phenomena. You might also be experiencing a lot of, and when I say phenomena, it doesn't even feel like phenomena anymore. It's just like your natural reoccurrence, but you're very connected spiritually. You're very open spiritually. So this does feel like you are connected to the elements, not just elements as in earth, wind, fire, water, but elements as in, your spirit guides, your spirit team, your ascended masters, people who are supporting you as well. Interesting, there does seem to be a mirror that's happening here. We did mention that the masculine is very supported. Divine Feminine, I feel like you're supporting the Divine Masculine, but not in the way that you used to. And that's not to say that you've pulled your energy back or your love back or anything like that, but it's just like we were saying earlier, it's like you're holding space, but in a different way. It's like you're not even holding space at all. You're trusting the connection, you're trusting the love, you're trusting the counterpart, you're trusting the journey. This is a new level of surrender for you, Divine Feminines, one that I'm having trouble articulating. Because I'm integrating this myself right now. It's a new level of surrender. It's a new level of trust, a new level of knowing where you're in balance with yourself. You're taking action for your life. You're trusting that soul nudge and doing what you're guided to do. That's your inner masculine that takes action, right? Your feminine energy gets the download, gets the nudge, gets the intuitive hit, and then your masculine takes action on it. That could be in a business, that could be in work, that could be in relationships, dynamic, anything with regards to life. Being reminded of a time when I went to go shopping for shampoo. Some of you might remember this story. I went to go shopping for shampoo, and they didn't have shampoo at this one place. So I said, okay, let me go to Target. I didn't want to go to Target, but I did. And so as I was exiting the building, I kept hearing the music notes of Ave Maria. And some of you know that I connect with that song very deeply as well. This was before, I think this was before my trip to Lourdes and the experiences that I had there. But the Ave Maria, it just felt like it was calling to me. And as I was driving, I saw that there was a man with a van and his wife. They had signs, they were homeless. He was playing the violin, the Ave Maria. And I parked and bawled my eyes out as I listened to the song. And then I pulled up to him and had a beautiful conversation with him and donated some money to him because I was called to. But that's what it was. It was trusting the soul nudge of, I could have gone home and gotten shampoo another day. I could have gone to any other store, but I was guided to go to that particular Target. And I was nowhere near where that Target was. That was miles away on the other side of town from where I was. And so I trusted the soul nudge, and that guided me to have that beautiful experience that, now that I'm thinking back on it, at that period of my life, is very deeply layered and connected to me. So again, this journey is layered. This journey has many levels. This journey has many connections to it. And we're not meant to know how far the ripples go. We're not meant to understand, maybe why we're guided to do something, but we're meant to trust it. And Divine Feminines, I feel like you are in a new level of that trust and of that surrender here, in that balance. Let's see what else we have for the Divine Feminines here. What else do we have for the Divine Feminines? Letting go of the urgency. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Surrender. Freedom from time constraints. This is a new level. This is a new level of your journey. A new level of surrender. A new level of trust. Where you're just allowing yourself to be. And you're letting your energy speak for itself. There might have been subtle layers of forcing, chasing, manipulation. And not in like a negative sense, not in a conscious way. But we all have elements of control. It's very human when we're in our unconscious state to want to control or micromanage our lives, our experiences, our connections. This is a new level of that surrender where our energy is speaking for itself. You don't have to chase, you don't have to prove, you don't have to perform, you just have to be. Be that sacred soul that you are. Be that love that you are. Be that light that you are. Let yourself shine. Let yourself be. Let go of the timing, let go of the urgency, let go of the need to know, need to understand. Just let yourself be. And in that surrender, everything changes. Everything shifts. Because you're not in resistance. You're not subtly pushing it away. You're not doubting it even. You are literally in a place of trust. Beautiful. What's going on in the union energies, please? What's going on in the union energies? What's going on in the union energies? Your eternal spirit, higher self, sacred intuition. Yeah, you're connecting to a higher version of yourself. You're connecting to your higher self. And I'm also hearing embodying that higher self. This is the shift here, where you are no longer denying any part of yourself, including your higher self, including your human self. This is where you become the bridge. And that is the initiation. When you're becoming the bridge, when you're embodying that energy of the balance of the higher self within that human capacity, within your human vessel, that is the initiation of your ascension journey. That's where you are anchoring that in. And I feel like this is part of the surrender that we were speaking of for the divine feminine, where you are connecting to the energy versus continuing to look outside in even more subtle ways for, is this happening? Is this occurring? What's he doing? Where am I on my journey? You are just literally allowing your life to unfold in beautiful ways, magical ways, because you are just being present. That's the shift here. You're trusting your intuition. You're trusting yourself now in a way that you've never trusted yourself in the past, because you are more connected to yourself than you've ever been. They bring me to the divine masculine here. With regards to the divine masculine, this feels like, again, trusting themselves, beginning to connect to their higher self too. And this also feels like it's connected to the feminine energy, which is intuition, and learning to listen to that intuition and take action on it. Again, that's masculine energy, is that taking action. You're not denying any aspect of yourself either. You're not denying the feminine anymore. Denying the feminine is what kept you separate. Avoiding or denying the feminine is what kept you isolated, is what kept you in that disconnect from yourself and from the world. This is where you are connecting much more deeply. It's beautiful energy. Okay, let's see what's going on with some tarot. Let's go a little bit deeper. So again, I just want to remind you that if you would like a personal reading, either about your connection or life path, soul purpose, whatever it is that you are curious about, we are open to readings until the end of next week. That's when we will close again. The Magician. We've talked about the masculine as being the magician in past Sacred Union energy updates over the past couple of months. I can't remember the specific reading. I know it came through in the last Sacred Union energy update as a reminder, as it came up again. I cannot remember where this first came through, but I know it was one of our Sacred Union energy updates from a couple of months ago. This masculine is a magician, not in a sleight of hand kind of way, not in a deceptive kind of way. In the toxic, distorted masculine, I would say yes. That energy is manipulative, that energy is deceptive, sabotaging. This energy for the magician, for the masculine, feels like recognizing the tools that they have at their disposal, recognizing themselves, recognizing that the universe is working in their favor, not against them. And that shift in mindset is literally what is changing everything. They're recognizing that they have that power too, not power over, not control. That was a distorted template. This is that self-empowerment energy that the divine feminine has been recognizing within herself as well. And so there's a beautiful mirroring that's going on here. Like I said, again, the divine feminine, she will go first in her ascension journey, but the masculine, he is right there with her now. The masculine, they go through their ascension very, very quickly. Very quickly. The feminine will go through her ascension journey and hold space for the masculine, and it's her holding space for the masculine, having gone through her ascension, that allows the masculine to experience their ascension very quickly. And the masculine too, their energy, they hold space for the feminine when she's going through her ascension. They might not be consciously aware of that, but the more consciously aware that you are, the more supportive that you are of each other. That's the working together. You're not working against each other. When you're working with each other in a conscious way, that is where your soul growth just becomes elevated. That's where you evolve very quickly. And that's exactly what's happening here. Because the feminine has gone through her ascension and is much more conscious and aware of her journey, her experiences, and herself, she's able to hold space for the masculine. That enables him to go through his ascension very, very quickly. It's like double time, very quickly, very sped up. And so here he is recognizing his power, his worth. And when I'm talking power, that's what I mean. I mean his worth. I mean his soul, his authentic self, his truth, his higher self. That's what I mean by power. It is self-empowerment. Power is not control. Power is walking your divine path. That's where they're beginning to see. This masculine also is highly in tune, very highly in tune. They might not consciously be aware of it. Divine feminines, they might not have or use the same language as you do, but this masculine is highly attuned and becoming more so. And it might look different too. There are some masculines who will not be spiritual in the sense of the word, where they are using spiritual words or spiritual phrases or understand spiritual concepts, but it is the embodiment. That's the most important thing. Are they anchored into their sacred self? Are they anchored into communication from the soul, from the heart? Are they anchored into the heart? That's what I'm trying to say. Are they grounded? Are they consistent? Are they stable? Are they expressing themselves in a communicative way, a way that is connected to the heart? So that is what a sacred masculine is. It doesn't have to look like you think it looks. It is the embodiment of the energy. Are they embodying that love? All right, let's keep going. The devil. The devil is that toxic energy, and I feel like this is what they're freeing themselves from. Bottom of the deck is the King of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles is my favorite king, as you guys might know. It is a very grounded energy, very stable energy. And this masculine, as the King of Pentacles, provides. Now, we're not talking about providing money or gifts or goods or any material things, although that could be an expression of how they are providing with regards to the energy that they're in. Remember how we talked about how romance is expression of love? Well, so is providing. So they might want to give to you. They might like something in the material world. You know, they might love taking you out on dates or dinners, or, you know, setting up, doing things that make you happy, like that kind of thing. Like they might love that, you know, and that's one way in which the divine masculine provides. The masculine is the giver. Feminine is the receiver. The feminine is the one that amplifies the energy, returns that to the masculine. The masculine is able to receive that and wants to give more. That is the nature and balance of the masculine and the feminine. They showed it to me as an infinity symbol. That is a flow of energy between you two. So the masculine naturally wants to give. But when we're talking about giving, when we're talking about providing, we're especially talking about the energy. We're especially talking about presence. Being present. What matters is, are you showing up? And not just showing up when it's good, but showing up in the dark times. Showing up when it's hard. Showing up when you want to turn away. Are you showing up when it's needed? That's what the feminine needs. The feminine needs to feel safe and secure. The feminine needs to know that you can hold her. The feminine needs to know that you'll be there in your presence. And it doesn't mean that you have to resolve anything. That's a distorted template of the masculine. Feeling like you have to problem solve or resolve something for the feminine. The feminine doesn't need you to resolve anything or to problem solve. The feminine just needs your presence. She needs to be held. That's the comfort. That's the security. That's the feeling of safety that she deeply desires to become her whole self. Now, Divine Feminine, let's talk to you for a second. You have that ability within yourself, yes. By working within your own inner masculine, you have created a container within yourself. That's your inner union again. You have discovered and healed your inner masculine so that you are able to hold yourself. You're able to hold your energy. You're not seeking outside of yourself for anything or anyone to save you or fix you. You've got that. But you don't have to be in a hyper independent state anymore. You don't have to always hold yourself. You can allow yourself to receive that support. And that's what your sacred partner does. Your sacred partner is able to hold that space for you, is able to hold that energy for you as you remember and come back to yourself. And that's where you support each other. The masculine at times will need the feminine to support him too. Will need the feminine to be that beacon, to be that lighthouse, to have that intuition and that guidance. That's where the masculine turns to the feminine. The feminine turns to the masculine within herself or within sacred partnership to be that sacred container, to be that sacred presence so that she can be all that she is. When a feminine is in the presence of a sacred masculine, she doesn't hold herself back. In his presence, and I mean stability, he is there, he is consistent, he is honoring her in respect, in love, in encouragement. He is able to hold that space for her. She is able to blossom and evolve and grow, and that has an effect then again on the masculine because she amplifies that energy and gives that back to the masculine. All that support, all that love, it's amplified and returned. And so she is able to be the fullness of who she is without fear, without performance, without proving anything, just allowing herself to be herself in her full, wild, untamed, feminine nature. That's that spiritual maturity that the feminine has because the masculine is able to hold her and she feels safe to be held and to be herself. So that's what we're talking about with this King of Pentacles. And I feel like that is where this devil energy is being lifted. Let's get more in this devil energy. There's something else here. Tell me more about this devil energy. The Three of Pentacles. Yeah. So where they had been creating that toxic environment for themselves, creating attachment to isolation, attachment to solitude, attachment to loneliness. That's what this feels like. Attachment to, I've got to do it all myself. Three of Pentacles is all about collaboration, a partnership, working together. It feels like that's where they're breaking free from those toxic chains. Tell me more about the masculine. Anything else we need to know about the masculine at this time? Knight of Pentacles. This, I'm hearing the phrase stepping forward, and that's what this feels like. It is a process. The Knight of Pentacles for me is a card of, it's the slowest moving card in the deck, so it does feel like it is a process that is unfolding, but it does feel very sincere, wanting to offer the heart, wanting to offer love, wanting to offer reconnection, reconciliation, whatever that is, it is coming from the heart space. And I just, with this card here, he's just looking towards the feminine, and it feels like there is a sense of admiration that's coming through. Bottom of the deck, you have the Strength card, and you have the Lovers. So yeah, I do feel like getting the strength to step forward into this partnership, getting the strength to step forward into love and true love. What I mean by that is true partnership. You know, not performance, not anything that is lacking, but something that is truly sacred. A recognition of the sacred. Recognition of the sacred. Okay, let's see And that's also what they're showing me is the strength card and the devil. The strength card overcomes that toxic energy, the devil energy. The devil is all about ego. The strength card is all about taming that ego. And that's this energy for the masculine too. Tell me more about the feminine now. Tell me more about the divine feminine. What do we need to know for the feminine? The Page of Cups. Yeah. As the masculine steps forward, the feminine also has something to offer. She's like, as you're stepping forward, something tangible, something that is solid, something that is stable. Here, I have this whole big cup of love for you. It's this very cute energy. And this Page of Cups feels very youthful too. It feels very not young, not immature, but youthful in a way of innocence. Like, again, we keep channeling that energy of going back to the beginning, but in a much more conscious way. You're not back to the beginning of your journey where you're going to start all over with the triggers and stuff. No, you have evolved. You have grown. You are much more conscious now, and so you're approaching the connection in a much more conscious way. Let's see what else is going on for the divine feminine. I'm also hearing, I have this cup of love for myself, and so now that that cup is full, I can offer that. I'm not sacrificing myself. I am not draining myself for this connection for you. I have this full cup. It's not something that is lacking within me that I'm seeking from you. It is something that we can offer to each other. I water you, you water me. We are both nurturing the garden together. And that's what it is. I share this in my book, The Unity Code, but also I've talked about this in other channelings where they've given me the metaphor of a garden. The masculine works on their corner of the garden, the feminine works on her corner of the garden, and then you take a step back and you're like, look at what we've grown. Look at what we've nurtured. And that's what our journey has been. If you're both working on the same corner of the garden, the rest of the garden is going to be neglected. It's going to decay. And your journey has been working on your own parts of the garden, and now it's like you can both step back. I'm seeing you both holding each other's hand and looking at the garden that you've created, and now you nurture it together. Now you water it together. Now you enjoy it together, and you continue growing it together. Where there's not one corner or another corner where it's separate, now it's like we can work on all aspects of that garden together, that garden being your connection, being your relationship. That's what this feels like. I'm not depleting myself. I'm coming to you with this full cup. Divine feminine. What do we need to know for the divine feminine? The high priestess. Yeah. I'm coming to you with this full cup because I know that I am the high priestess. I know who I am. I'm embodying this energy now. I know my energy. I know my higher self, that I'm connected to my higher self. I know that I'm connected to my intuition. And I also know that I can trust in the energy. That is the path that I'm following. Not just what I'm seeing or not seeing, but what is beneath the veil. Trusting the soul's path. Trusting what's being felt and experienced within the soul, within the energy, versus just what's within the physical. That's what is the embodiment of the divine feminine. This high priestess is the embodiment of the divine feminine. And in tarot, the emperor and the empress are the masculine and feminine in the physical, and I take the high priestess and the high priest as the embodiment of the masculine and the feminine energetically, like the higher selves of the masculine and the feminine. That's what this feels like. This feels like you are embodying divine feminine, your divine feminine essence. You're embodying that sacredness. You're embodying that your higher self. Tell me more now. Tell me more. The Ten of Cups, yeah. And you might feel this Ten of Cups. You might feel it in your vortex, so to speak, in your energy field. You might feel everything being created here, everything manifesting, because it is. And it is because of who you are. Not for any technique that you're doing, not any tool that you're using. It is because of your energy, who you have become, and how you see yourself, how you're honoring yourself, how you're loving yourself. It is all in your energy and only in your energy. And again, if you want to go deep with this, I have two options available. Number one, we have the Higher Heart Academy, which is a supportive self-study, or we have the Unity Code Intensive, where we work one-on-one, week to week, on really embodying this energy and shifting this. I have seen my clients go through tremendous transformations where they don't even recognize themselves from 3 months, 6 months to a year ago. And it all comes down to you. You're doing that inner work. You're becoming who you truly are, not who you thought you needed to be. And we're unhooking all of that old programming, all of those old beliefs, so that you are really anchoring in to who you truly are. And you're seeing your whole world transform because of it. That's this 10 of Cups. This 10 of Cups is all your dreams, all your wishes, but it is being made manifest in the physical. You are seeing it in the physical because of who you are and the energy that you're embodying. It is literally you being you. Just you being you. Anything else we need to know when it comes to this connection, please? What else do we need to know when it comes to this connection for the Divine Feminine? Page of Pentacles. And the World here. This Page of Pentacles also feels new. I feel like you are... This World card, let me start with the World card. This World card feels very open, feels very evolving. The World is the end of the major arcana, so it usually indicates the end of a journey. But then there's always the beginning again, right? We're always leveling up into new phases of our journey, and that could be this case as well. However, this also feels, so that could be part of the evolution, but this also feels like something new, like you're evolving into something new. This very much has an energy of a beginning. So as one door is closing, another door might be opening. As you're having an ending to one version of yourself, you might be embodying a new version of yourself. As you might be ending a phase of your journey, a new one might be opening. This feels very new. And I feel like you are seeing the fruits of that is what I'm getting with this Page of Pentacles. I'm getting almost like a Seven of Pentacles energy where you are seeing the harvest. Like you're seeing the tangible, you're seeing in your tangible world what you've been creating. You're seeing in your tangible world data or evidence of this shift, of this evolution within yourself. So this could be a number of things. It could be actually within your connection. You're seeing a difference in your counterpart, in your relationship, how you're connecting with each other, how you're communicating, or even just how you're experiencing the connection energetically if you're not in contact with your counterpart. This could be with regards to a business where or career where you are evolving in your business or your career. This could be with regards to money where you're actually seeing a shift in your finances. This could also even be the word ideas is what I'm getting. So you could actually be having new ideas that you are putting into tangible form. So take it as it resonates. There's a couple of different messages there, so it's going to resonate with everybody in a different way. But I feel like this is an evolution. This is a new phase of your experience, a new phase of your journey that you're experiencing in your human life, in your human form. What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? Well, okay. I'm just going to show you what I've got, and I'm going to put them back. The King of Cups, the Empress, the Seven of Cups, what's this? The Ace of Wands. I'm not going to take them all, but just to read on them very quickly, this is that higher level. This is a higher level of awakening, higher level of your spiritual journey, and this is also a new beginning with regards to action. It's an active energy, so this could be like a new beginning that you're actually seeing in active form, physical form, with a partner, with a person. This could be somebody with romantic intentions. Because you are embodying that Empress energy, it might be causing some turmoil, it might be causing some confusion. You might have options, even you might have options when it comes to a person. If that's not the case, you might be questioning where your road is taking you, where your journey is taking you. The important thing for you, Divine Feminine, is to not focus on anything that you don't want, but to focus on what you are feeling intuitively within your heart. I always say this, whether this is if you're doubting your connection with your counterpart, or if you have options, if there are multiple people in your life and you're kind of confused, going back and forth, who is my counterpart, or who do I want to experience partnership with, or whatever. Take these messages only if they're resonating with you. It's coming in, so I have to share it. So only take if it's resonating with you. What I like to do, if there's any confusion, is, and this has worked for me in the past, put the energy of whoever it is, of your counterpart. If it's just your counterpart, put the energy of your counterpart in front of you. Take away the name, take away their physical features, take away any identifying elements, just so that their energy is in front of you. How does it feel? How does their energy feel? What is your heart telling you? What is your intuition telling you? Connect with your heart and tune into the energy. The energy is what is real, and you'll know in your heart space what your heart is telling you. If this is multiple people, put 2 people in front of you. Both people in front of you. Again, take away the identifying features, take away the names, the physical features, and just look at the energy and kind of compare the energy. How does it feel? Who feels true to your soul? Who feels true to your heart? That's your answer. It's about learning to trust your intuition. As the high priestess, it's trusting your intuition. Divine masculines, if this is resonating, you could do that as well. Learning within your feminine energy to trust in your intuition, to connect with your heart. What is it that you are feeling within your heart space? What is the energy telling you? So try that and see how that resonates. So I'm going to put these cards back and see what else we need to know for the Divine Feminines. What else do we need to know? Anything else for the Divine Feminines? This is a soul-to-soul connection. This is an energetic connection first and foremost. And remember, like we were channeling earlier, everything is energy. And we have our physical experiences, and we're not meant to ignore our physical human experiences. That's spiritual bypassing. We don't do that, especially on this journey. But you have to work in tandem with the physical and the energy. But the energy is what speaks louder. The energy is what informs the physical. So tuning into the energy is so important here. And learning to tune into the energy and trust the energy is what's so important here. Divine Feminines. What else do we need to know for the Divine Feminines? The Five of Swords. This feels like the reverse energy of the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords can be like a... I'm also getting Two of Swords energy. You see those 2 swords that are crossed there? They're giving me Two of Swords energy. So indecisive. Five of Swords is an energy of doing battle. For me, it's an energy of battle of the mind and the heart. And that's where that indecision energy is coming in. The Five of Swords is also an energy of maybe doing battle with each other, where there is like a war of the words, where there's no winner, there's no loser, because you're both misunderstanding each other, right? Swords is a very cerebral energy. It's a very mental energy, all about the mental facilities. And so I feel like it's about changing your perspective. And that's where you're going to get clarity. That's where you're going to shift out of indecision. That's where you're going to shift out of the battle over the mind and the heart. That's where you're going to embody your high priestess energy. If your mind is still going, what if? If your mind is still looking outside of yourself for physical evidence, if your mind is still seeking, chasing, trying to unconsciously manipulate or force anything, you're still in battle with yourself. And so that's where the surrender is important. That's the journey that you're ending. That's the phase of your journey that you're ending. That is what you're surrendering. You're moving more into surrender. You don't have to battle anymore. You just have to be. So important there for the Divine Feminines. Okay. Anything else we need to know for the union? Anything we need to know for the union energy? Temperance, that's a union card right there. It is the balance. It is healing energy. It is, I'm also hearing 1 foot in the spiritual and 1 foot in the physical. Don't deny either. Temperance is about moderation. Temperance is about the balance of both. Temperance, they're saying, is the bridge. So it's not about being too much in the spiritual and ignoring the physical. It's not about being too much in the physical and ignoring the spiritual by looking at the evidence and not focusing on the energy or tuning into the energy, for example. It is about being the bridge of both. That's what temperance is, and that's where union is born. Beautiful. But on the deck, you have the Empress, and I feel like the Empress is truly kind of leading this connection, leading the way. She is a lighthouse. She is a portal. Let's get some guidance here using the Archangel Michael cards. Guidance for the Divine Masculine, please. This is a blessing in disguise. Be patient and have faith that your angels have the situation under control. What will come is far better than you dare to dream. This is a call for trust for the Divine Masculine, too. If they're going through towers, if they're going through shakeups, if you're going through rebirth, divine masculine, trust the process. We had that card too, trust the process. You're releasing a lot of old programming, toxic energy to become more of yourself. Trust the process. This is part of your ascension. What do we need to know for the divine feminine? Guidance for the divine feminine, please. Guidance for the divine feminine. Put your creative energy into action. Archangel Gabriel joins me to spark your creativity, help you communicate your vision, and motivate you to create something beautiful. This is your manifestation. This is your creation, divine feminine. What do we talk about? Don't force it. It is unfolding. Don't try to manipulate it. Don't chase it. This is part of the next level of your embodiment, learning true surrender. And I know we hate that word because we have surrendered so often on this journey, but there's still little places where we might be controlling, still little places where we might be trying to seek or micromanage or not even within the connection, but within our own lives. And you do that by little leaks, little energy leaks, where you might be wondering what he's doing or focusing on his energy too much. Even if you can't deny the energy that you feel, keep bringing it back to yourself, keep bringing it back to your journey, your life. Focus on what you need to focus on. That's manifestation, that's creation. So manifestation is not something outside of ourselves, it's who we are being. We create by being in alignment with the timeline, with reality that we're wanting, right? So manifestation is not something outside of ourselves that comes to us. It is literally us in our embodiment where we are creating, we are just aligning to that timeline or that reality that we are ourselves are being, we ourselves are embodying, that we ourselves believe in, that we ourselves know that we are anchored into. What's the phrase? Every next level requires a new version of yourself. That's creation energy. That's manifestation energy. If you want a new life, it requires a new version of you. It's as simple as that. That's for both counterparts here. I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while and use the Romance Angel cards and just see how you're connecting to each other. And maybe even what you want to say to each other. And then I think I'm going to pull my conversations cards. Haven't done that in a while either, but let's do it. Okay, what does the divine masculine want to say to the divine feminine? How are they connecting with the divine feminine? How are they connecting with the divine feminine? We have love yourself first and religious factors. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. Divine feminine, they are seeing you and admiring you because you have reached this level of embodiment. Because you have chosen yourself first. You have chosen to love yourself just a little bit more. And that's what I say to my clients. Love yourself just a little bit more. As much as you unconditionally love your counterpart. And it is unconditional love. And you know it's unconditional love. If you have had to walk away, if you have had to disengage, but you are still forgiving, loving, hold compassion for them, you know it's unconditional love if you still feel that in your heart. As much as you love your counterpart, love yourself just a little bit more. Honor yourself just a little bit more. That is the purpose of your journey, is bringing you home to yourself. That is what your counterpart is guiding you towards. So I also feel like this is for the divine masculine, where they are beginning to learn to love themselves too, learning to love their own worthiness, and that's what's making them attractive to the feminine. The feminine is attracted to a masculine, again, who is present, who is clear, who loves themselves, not in an arrogant, conceited, or ego-driven way. But when the masculine is respectful and honoring of the feminine, because he's honoring and loving himself, man, that is sexy to the feminine. The feminine then knows that he can lead from the heart, not from the ego, that he's not trying to control her, but he's holding space for her. He is a place of safety and security for her because he has recognized that within himself. That religious factors card is my spiritual awakening / ascension card. That is what this feels like. This feels like they are loving themselves, and you're loving yourself, which is making you both so attractive to each other. And that's your good partnership. You don't have to deny that attraction. You don't have to deny the love. You're not meant to. Divine feminine. What do we need to know with regards to the connection for your divine feminine? How are you connecting with your masculine? How is the feminine connecting with the masculine, please? Calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, visualizations help bring you together. I want you to ignore that, because that's exactly what we're talking about. Calling in your soulmate doesn't mean the tools, all the visualizations, the affirmations, the prayers. You've already done that. You've already held that. You hold that in your heart just by having that desire. Like, God knows that desire. Your counterpart knows that desire. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to do anything. It is all in your energy field. It is all in you. And so you call in your soulmate literally by just holding your energy, by just being you, by just embodying who you are. Bottom of the deck, we have a confirmation of that. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully, by being present in who you are. Like I said at the beginning, this is a little bit of a higher level teaching, the next level teaching of sacred partnership that I myself have been integrating over the past couple of weeks, especially this past week. So this is truly fascinating that it's coming through, that's coming out. Also, no coincidence, because as I channel, my channel here, Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections, has been my own journey of evolution too. I always say I'm walking this journey right along with you guys, and it's true. You know, there's nothing that I teach, nothing that I channel that I haven't also learned for myself. Spirit will surprise me too. I will get as much out of this as you guys do. But, you know, in this community, I've been walking this journey right along with you guys. So this is no surprise that this is what's coming out, because this is the next level of what sacred union really means. It is, you're literally calling it in, not as something outside of yourself, but as something that is truly embodied within you. And you don't have to seek it. You don't have to chase it anymore, even in the most subtle or unconscious of ways. It is literally within you. This is a season of unions. It is. It is a season of partnership. And for some, it might be the soulmate path. And we have a whole workshop in the academy all about the soulmate path. I have a section of that in my book as well if you want to read it instead. And what the soulmate path means, it does not mean that you don't have a twin flame. It doesn't mean that you're not in partnership with your twin flame, or that you won't have a relationship or partnership with your twin flame. But this is a season of unions. And Divine Feminine, if you're feeling the energy of union, you are meant to have a union. You are meant to experience a union. And sometimes you experience that with a soulmate. Maybe before a counterpart comes in, if your counterpart has not been ready for connection or partnership. Sometimes that might be a new counterpart that's coming in. If your counterpart, your twin flame, was a catalyst for you. So I really encourage you guys to check out the Soul Path the Soul Path workshop in the academy if that resonates with you. If you are experiencing soulmates, or if you are just feeling the energy of sacred partnership and sacred union, and you want to understand what that sacred union and partnership is and what it means for you. But this is what it is. Like, this is a season of unions. You are literally embodying the energy of union, and so you are calling union in. Release the expectation of what you think that needs to look like, and be open. Keep your heart open. Okay? All right. Let's get, I haven't used these in a while. Let's get some cards from the counterpart. What does the masculine want to say to the feminine? Let's rebuild together. Beautiful. The masculine wants this new beginning just as much as you, Divine Feminine. And Divine Feminine, what do you want to say to the masculine? Please forgive me. I'm hearing a song download. David Gray, please forgive me for taking so much time. This is a higher level teaching as well, but the feminine hasn't just been waiting for the masculine. Divine Feminine, the masculine has been waiting for you too. Waiting for you to love yourself, honor yourself, and not in a shallow way, but in a way where you're recognizing yourself through your own evolution, through your own embodiment. Your masculine has been waiting for you too, holding space for you too. So it's that David Gray, please forgive me. Please forgive me for taking so much time, or something like that. You've been evolving too. So this isn't about blame. This isn't about projection. This isn't about you're doing this and you're doing that. You have literally been doing this journey together. It is so important to understand that you are and always have been in union. Don't look at the lack of your physical connection or lack of communication like that is a determining factor of whether or not you're in union, because it isn't. You have always been in union, and you and your counterpart have always been doing this together energetically. And now it's really about understanding and embodying that and bringing that into the physical. Last messages for each other. Divine Masculine, what do you want to say to the feminine? Anything else you want to say to the feminine? Divine Masculine, anything else you want to say to the feminine? I can't believe a love like this exists. And feminine to the masculine, my heart is on fire for you. All right, I do have a couple of decks available in my shop if you are interested in. This is my Conversations with Counterparts deck. If you're interested in these, I don't believe I'm going to be getting these in stock again. So make sure that you're checking that out if you would like these. And we will be back with a new Sacred Union energy update and more sacred channelings here on Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections over the coming week. I'm sending you all so much love, so much light, and we'll see you soon.